He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Hello, my friends. This is Mark Levin. Our number, 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. What is wrong with threesome marriage? I don't get into this enough, so let me get into it now. I think this attack on Miss California just disgusts me. She was asked a question. Apparently there's only one right answer. I haven't heard this pageant come to her defense. This freak, Perez Hilton, out there sliming her and everybody else, as a matter of fact. I have nothing but respect for her. But I want to discuss this in a substantive way. If traditional marriage should not be traditional anymore, what should it be? Who can get married and to whom? Why is it limited to 2 people? Why not 3? Can't we make the same arguments? 3 people may well be better able to care for a child. 3 people may well be better able to provide a home, earn more income. I mean, if one of the 3 is unemployed, at least there's 2 who are employed. Or if 2 of the 3 are unemployed, at least there's 1 who is employed. Why have marriage at all? Or should anybody who wants to marry whomever they want to, however they want to? And I'm not even including livestock. Let's stick with human beings. Because I'm trying to be very serious about this. And so those who say it is a civil right for people of the same sex to be married, I ask, is it a civil right for 3 people of the same sex to be married? Is it a civil right for 2 people of the same sex and 1 person of a different sex to be married? Or where's the cutoff? Just where the liberal constituencies are? That's the cutoff? What's the point of marriage anyway? So to me, this is a question that deserves an answer. It deserves an answer by those who are running around saying now the Republicans must give up this issue as they must give up on every other issue. Get with the program. Same-sex marriage is in. A few states have passed it. Most of them haven't. As a matter of fact, an overwhelming majority haven't. But look, Obama will get enough leftists on the court, compel it through the 14th Amendment, Equal Protection Clause, and there we are. Just like abortion, just like so much else. Policy becomes law. Law becomes an iron-fisted position of the entire nation, and nothing can change it. So that is my question to the liberals, whether they be Republicans or Democrats. What is your definition of marriage? See, ladies and gentlemen, I have figured out what Aristotle and Plato figured out, what Cicero figured out, what Locke and Montesquieu figured out. I have figured out what Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher figured out. That is, you take what our adversaries say and address it. Don't just take it at face value. Listen to what they're saying and deconstruct it. I hear one of these morning hosts, a failed politician, moan on and on about his love for Colin Powell, about his love for Lincoln Chafee. We need a big... Ladies and gentlemen, this is superficial mumbo-jumbo. This is what they want to hear on NBC and in Time Magazine and all the other places conservatives don't go. It's irrelevant. It's stupid. So let's talk about same-sex marriage. Let's talk about multiple partner marriage. Where does the statist draw the line? Now, you see, they do have some moral argument. It's just that they don't share our moral argument. It's just that they wrap themselves in civil rights. Whatever they support is a civil right. It's a civil liberty. Have you noticed? And if we say no, then we're Mr. and Mrs. No. We can't object. We're standing in the way of progress. Get with the program. And that's just one area. We have a state like Montana that has now passed a law and has said that guns manufactured in Montana, sold in Montana, and used in Montana, it's not interstate commerce, it is not covered by the United States Constitution, and therefore Montana will not recognize any efforts by the federal government to control the guns that are manufactured, kept, and used in Montana. This is exactly right. And I write about this type of a case in Liberty and Tyranny. I wrote about it in Men in Black. It's a famous case that was ruled on in the 1940s, where the Supreme Court ruled, I've talked about this many times, as you know, that wheat grown by a farmer for his own consumption, which never entered interstate commerce, the court ruled that, in fact, the government, the federal government, could regulate it because he withheld it from interstate commerce. So outrageous was that decision, and yet that is what opened the door to socialism. And I called the chapter in Men in Black Socialism from the Bench. Wrote it back in 2005. You have to take what the left says and confront it. Colin Powell, who I think we deconstructed rather comprehensively the other day, says the people want more government and they're willing to pay for it. Really? The people who are paying for it really don't want more government. And what does he mean anyway by more government? What does he mean? He doesn't even know what he means. And how much more government do they want? Tens of trillions of dollars in debt for their children? My guess is most people don't, who understand basic economics and supply and demand, don't want that. My guess is they don't. And that's why the Democrat Congress is in a hurry to ram all this stuff through, because they don't want to put it up to challenge 2 years from now in another election. They don't want activist judges, and yet that's what the Democrats are going to push. They don't want all these international arrangements where our sovereignty is destroyed, where we're paying tens of billions of dollars to subsidize welfare states overseas. So what is it that Colin Powell is talking about? He has no idea what he's talking about. He's Mr. Bumper Sticker talk, Mr. Fortune Cookie talk. He's never given any serious thought to political philosophy, to history. He's a military guy, and that's well and good. But he strikes me as not one of the brightest. Mark, you can't say that. Say whatever I want. Just based on what he's saying. You see, we have people who have a foot in each camp. Lots of friends. Washington has affected them. Lots of friends on the left, the Democrat Party. They're embarrassed by you. They're embarrassed by me. They're embarrassed by Sean. They're embarrassed by Rush. They're embarrassed by us. So they want to appear to be really reasonable. Not judgmental, reasonable. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we can have our philosophy and our principles. We just need to get along and have a big tent. Utterly incoherent. I'm not talking about not getting along, but what is the big tent? What does that mean, having a big tent? You might as well eliminate the distinction between the political parties, which is what some of these people are doing. Then they base their philosophy on Edmund Burke. They haven't even read Edmund Burke. They don't even know what he's talking about. Edmund Burke, restraint. Of course Edmund Burke, restraint. And yet he supported the American Revolution, which was not about restraint. It was about overthrowing a tyranny. And yet he rejected the French Revolution, which was not just about a revolution. It was about a bloodletting and an age of terror that followed a revolution. We hear these people who don't know their history, who don't know their facts, and they blurt this stuff out and they insist that we follow them. That's the interesting thing. I don't insist that anybody follow me. I mean, I wish they would. I did something in this book that's different. If you read this book, you will find the word I and me a very few times.